Hello folks, Dr. Nels here, coming to you today. Another beautiful day, actually the same day as what we just recorded that you saw last week. But we're coming back to you with this three-part series on replacing yourself, control freaks that struggle with that. How do we go about transitions in leadership and life and in organizations, family, not family, whatever it might be, and how do we transition decision-making, control, power, those sort of things in our businesses so it can go beyond us. And last week we talked about control freaks having to raise their lid so that they can figure out how to let go of some things if their goal is for that operation, that legacy business, to go beyond them. And then if that's the goal, we want to think about this, talk about this, and this episode today is these transitions are not a one-day event. Now, if you're watching this right now, I want you to think about operations, businesses, teams around you where the leader of the family or the operation or the team dies one day and never properly groomed the next generation or never properly groomed the next layer of leadership to step up to the plate for when they were gone. You can think of operations that have done that. You can think of operations that did that and they're no longer around. Businesses that one person dies and then it just goes away. Now, mind you, you can all think of those operations and businesses, and most of the time they're a slow, painful death. A lot of times they don't go away quickly because things maybe have been done well enough. It takes a while for it to die, but you can, if you've got enough age on your side, enough seasoning, you can think of places that did that. But as we think about letting go of some things, growing and raising our next layer of leaders, we have to get very intentional about not only doing that, but also then those next steps of, all right, what's it look like down the road for when I am gone? And to be flat honest, I hadn't really thought about that much until, I don't know, now it's been 5+ years ago, before I partnered Dr. Tyen, and he wanted me to put down on paper what my 10-year plan looked like. And at first it pissed me off because I thought, well, that's pretty ballsy. But then I thought, well, it's probably not a bad idea. And what's that 10-year plan look like for him? That's what he wanted to know too. But it took some humility, but I in turn turned around and asked him, hey, you create your 10-year plan as well. And so we have to think about that 10-year plan. Who's the leaders? Who's the next layer of leadership? What that looks like, what our plan is, what the roles are of people going forward, what are the potential roles of people when I'm gone or after I'm trying to replace myself. Now, mind you, this is some really big stuff, and so none of it's going to be perfect, and there's going to be things change, etc. But you at least need to start somewhere, and start with growing your people, making daily deposits, talking to your people, growing them, talking them through your daily decisions on what you do, how you make those decisions so they can learn and absorb, and tell them we're purposely doing this so you can learn from the decisions I've made, from the failures I've made, so that when I die, this is not a one-day event of my death and passing the torch, because that doesn't work. And if you're leading an organization and you're a control freak, you're likely headed down the road of a one-day torch passing. And if you're watching this right now, I'm begging you to not do that. If you are watching this right now, and if there's one person watching this that's a control freak that starts to think deeper about this video is wildly successful. Because you can all think of control freaks. Some of you watching this now probably maybe work for a control freak that isn't raising their lid enough to replace themselves so that the legacy business, the next generations, can carry it on beyond that person. And so if you're that person, please think about this. And if you've got questions please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you navigate those waters on raising your lid, growing your team to replace yourself so that it's not a one-day event, because that could be lethal for your team, your family, your organization, and your operation. I think that's all I want to go through now today. Next week we'll be talking about core values and how we use those to guide this path, this journey. If you've got some questions, leave them below. We'll answer them to the best of our ability. We're glad you're here, unless Cale has any questions or thoughts or concerns. You're good? Not this go around. All right. Cheers. Thanks, people. We'll see you next week.